Good day, guys. I want to explain to you in this next session the different options you have in running a school. I've earlier mentioned that you have the two options, the full-time school and the part-time school. And what I want to do and what I aim to do in the next session is to give you a little bit more detail around these two options to make it easy for you to go back home and just develop whatever is comfortable and practical in your community. Never underestimate the influence of the community in this school, okay? You are destined to influence your community. However, the community will influence the way you run your school. It is extremely important to understand this. And I just want to talk about a few principles in this session that you can take note of that will influence the school in some way or another. Okay, but first of all, in this session, we're going to look at the two different options. Okay. Secondly, we're going to try and develop your own schedule. We're going to do an exercise later on in the session, how to develop your own schedule. The third thing I want to discuss with you very briefly later on is a few principles that will keep the school dynamic. Now, why is this important? Plainly because if you're going to sit with a group of people that is working in the day and coming to class twice or three times a week, you will have to find a way to keep the school dynamic and interesting and exciting for the guys if they're going to sit in this classroom for the next 18 months. Okay, I've seen many people say, listen, this is too much for me. I cannot do this anymore. And that is a lack of initiative from the facilitator's side. He needs to make it exciting for the guys. It's important. However, if you do not have a dynamic group or a dedicated group in your little school, obviously it will be a challenge. But we'll talk about that later on. And then fourthly, we're gonna practically do an exercise in how to develop your schedule. Okay, at the end of the session, you would know the different options. You would know how to develop your schedule. You will know how to keep your school dynamic. And I think these principles will help you to build an example, take it home, discuss it with your leadership, and then continue in starting your school. Okay, so now we have the full-time school and we have the part-time school. We've said that, and now my goal is to explain to you in detail, a little bit more detail, what each one of these mean. However, take note of the following. Your school is unique, okay? Your school is not the same as the one I'm going to present to you. Your school could not be the same as the example I'm going to give you. You must understand that your school is developed for your community and your people. And the one community differs from another community. You need to understand that. So whatever you're going to build into the schedule and whatever you're going to develop in making this as an exciting experience for the people, you must understand it must enhance your community. All right, so whatever I present to you, you can take it, you can look at it, but don't copy it because it might not work in your community or in your church or in your city. All right, so this is I think it's a principle. Your school is unique. Secondly, your school will support your church's vision. Develop your schedule with this in mind. Why am I saying this? You know, one day I was traveling through Siberia and I met this pastor, and as we got talking and I'm introducing Life School to him, and he spoke to me about his vision and his passion for church planting, I realized that there's something different here. He said, Henny, you need to understand that whenever I want to reach out to this specific group that is situated in the northern parts of Russia, I need to wait for a certain time in the year for me to travel there. I cannot travel there all year round. It's only a certain time of the year that I'm able to travel there, plainly because of the seasons and I mean, if you go to Siberia, you will understand the -40s and the -50s or whatever the case may be. However, there's a small window that he can use to travel to the north and reach out to those people. Now, if I am a local pastor in Siberia and I want to plant a church in that area, I will definitely organize and schedule my school to be finished by this time for me to go out and practically reach out to those people. It's much more effective. We are reaching a goal. There is a vision. So what I'm saying is that your church has the vision. Bear this in mind when you develop your schedule. Think about this. It is very, very, very important. Now, thirdly, Life School is a long curriculum, 242 sessions. It's not a very short, brief missions curriculum. It's a long curriculum. You must not waste time. Okay, use every opportunity you have to take your students through this exercise and watch these sessions, discuss these sessions, spend time in prayer. I think it's very important. Do not waste time. And fourthly, respect your community. Okay, your community, your immediate community, whether it's a village or an area in your city, will be the first people that will be influenced by whatever you have been taught or whatever you are practicing. All right, so your community will be first. Whether you like it or not, your community will be influenced. However, it's going to be positive or negative. Make sure it is positive. So respect your community. I think it's absolutely crucial in starting a school in your world. Okay guys, so let's take a brief moment and let's just look at the first option, the full-time school option. What is a full-time school? Well, it's easy. It's a group of dedicated individuals in an environment that will gather on a daily basis, going through the school and the curriculum chronologically until they have done the theoretical phase, and after that they will go on an extended outreach of about 16 to 20 weeks. Okay, so basically a full-time school is a school that will gather on a daily basis. Now I know that not all the churches has the ability to carry the load of a full-time school. However, although in our world it is by far, I think, the most, a little bit more effective than a part-time school, plainly because it's much shorter, much more focused, and I think it's important for you to understand this principle. All right, so it's a daily basis. You need to have a dedicated group of people. They cannot work and come to a full-time school. It's impossible. Okay, so it's a group of people that have said, listen, for the next 8 months or 12 months or whatever the case may be, I've set apart this time. I'm going to equip myself. I'm going to walk in this road and I'm going to get trained to be a missionary. All right, it's a full-time school. The theoretical training, like I said, will take about 16 weeks to complete. That's now if you do 3 sessions a day, 5 days a week. For the next few weeks, you're going to go through this thing and you're going to get trained on a daily basis. In most cases, these students will stay on the premises. Okay, I think that is the most practical. In some other cases, we have found that some of the students will stay at homes of believers in the village or in the town or in the city, and they will come on a daily basis every morning. They will come at 8 o'clock or whatever the case may be, and they will start their program for the day and then go back home again. Okay, so there's various options when it comes to the accommodation thing, but most of the times, the people stay on the site and they get trained there. And that is important to understand. Now, when you start a full-time school, there's a few things that you need to bear in mind. And I want to give these to you so that you must write it down, because you need to think about this as we go on, because later on, you're going to decide whether the full-time or the part-time option is which one is the better one for you when you go home. Okay? The facility. You must have a lecture room. You must have a small room, doesn't matter how big, as long as it can accommodate the amount of students you're going to have. You must have a safe, quiet, private place where you can minister, where you can watch, where you can pray, where you can worship, and make sure whatever has been said on these videos become part of your life. Because that's exactly what needs to take place in a facility like that, okay? This session that whoever's going to speak on the video must become part of your life. Now, how are you going to do that? Everything takes place in this room, all right? So make sure you have a place that's private. It is extremely important. You don't need people that come in and say, listen, Pastor, I have a phone call for you, or whatever the case may be. That should not exist, all right? It's a private place. You will deal with issues throughout the curriculum. There are certain things that you will have to face. There's going to be tears. There's going to be laughter. There's going to be worship, plainly because of what God is doing in your lives. Accommodation. We spoke about it very briefly earlier. If you have the capacity to accommodate the people on the premises, it's fantastic. I think that is a first-class option for people to stay on the premises. However, it's not always practical. And we do respect and understand that. But do find a way. If your people are staying on premises, that's cool. Make sure that, just bear in mind, that you have a cultural and cultural sensitive issue. That if, the men should be separate from the ladies. And I don't have to go into detail with that. But just make sure that you respect the gender, respect culture. It is very important. The other thing that is important, if people are staying off-site, if they're staying at homes of other people's or whatever the case may be, transport is an issue. Okay, so you might not deal with the accommodation issue, but you will definitely deal with the transport issue. All right, so just think through all these little things that might complicate the full-time school at the end of the day. Cooking facilities. You cannot expect a group of people to come to a full-time school and you're not going to give them food, okay? So you need to think, how are you going to give them breakfast? How are you going to give them lunch? How are you going to give them dinner? And in my world and the way I would do things, I would develop my schedule in such a way that the guys will cook themselves, that they will prepare the food themselves in certain times. So it's a very well thought through daily schedule that needs to be in place for a option like this. Secondly, you must have a very dedicated group of people. I've said it earlier. You need a group of people that said, listen, for the next few months, I'm yours. I'm going to be here. I'm going to get trained. I'm going to get equipped. And I want to support the vision of the church. If we want to plant 10 churches in Tanzania in the next 2 years, I want to be part of that process. Use me. Here I am. I've set everything apart. I'm here to get equipped. That's the type of dedication you need for a full-time school. The other thing is you need the local church behind you. There's no way you can start a full-time school without having the local pastor and his family behind you in this process. Remember, this school, this full-time school will become a process, it will become a project of the church. If the pastor is behind you in this whole thing, it will definitely enhance the ministry of the church in a tremendous way. Okay, you need the local church behind you. And fourthly, you need a very clear vision and a very clear goal. Now, I know many people will talk about it still in the training, but in my understanding, if I would start a full-time school tomorrow and my goal is 20 churches in Madagascar or whatever the case may be, I will make sure there's a map of Madagascar in my room. I will make sure that there's a place where they can see the goal every single day so that that goal can become part of who they are in their lives. I remember in the 2000 school when we did the recordings, I was in that school. We saw the map of Tanzania every single day. After a few months, Tanzania became part of my life. I wanted to go to Tanzania. I wanted to go and reach out to those people. I want to pray for Tanzania. So really it becomes part of who you are. So make sure the vision stays in front of the people. It is extremely important. All right. Now, I made reference to a daily schedule a little bit earlier, and I just want to give you an example of what a daily schedule would look like. Okay, why is this important? Well, if you are like me, I would use every opportunity to build character. I think character is extremely important in a mission field. All right, so I'm going to use this opportunity to build into the people a character, something that can stay firm in some of the most difficult to reach places. All right, so an example of a daily schedule looks like this. You can wake up at 5:30 in the morning. Then there's quiet time from 6 to 6:30. Breakfast, 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Then we will clean. Okay, the guys must clean the place. It must look nice. From 7 o'clock to 7:30, and this is only an example. From 7:30 to 8 o'clock, we will have prayer and then session 1. Session 1 will take place from 8 o'clock to 9:30. The session, you will watch the session, you will discuss, you will pray, you will minister, whatever it takes for you to take hold of whatever has been said. Session 2, 9:30 to 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, we can have tea for half an hour, some fellowship. Session 3 from 11:30 to 12. Then we're going to go into the preparation of lunch. And then we're going to go into some ministry opportunities. In the afternoon, you maybe serve at the church. Or in the evenings, you're going to go out doing whatever you need to be done. And then from 5 to 7, we will have dinner. All right, this is a very basic thing, a daily plan. But it's important that you put this plan in place. Discipline is extremely important. You cannot afford investing into these guys and ladies with a lack in discipline. You're going to send them to very difficult places. You're going to send them to places that need a church. And there's a reason why there's no church at the moment, if that's the case. So you need discipline. You need strong character. Use every opportunity to build into their lives. Okay, guys, so that was the full-time school, the daily gathering of students. The other option, which is most probably the most used option around the world today, is the part-time school. Now, the part-time school is a school where you will have students that's most probably working during the day, or they are in other ministries, or they do things in the day, and it will not allow them to come to a full-time school, all right? So these guys will come maybe once, twice, or 3 times, or even sometimes 4 times a week. They will come at night, and they will go through a session, they will discuss that session, and will go home. Now, this is a different dynamic to the school. Obviously, this school will take longer than a full-time school. Where the full-time school will take you 16 weeks to complete, the part-time school will take you at least 12 to 18 months to complete. And I need you to hear this. 12 to 18 months is a long time for a school like this in a local church, especially in a smaller village. All right. Now, there's many things that will influence this part-time school, and we'll get to that a little bit later. If you do a 12-month school, it's about 20 sessions per month. All right, that means it's plus minus 5 sessions a week. Now you can divide it as you would like that to be divided and whatever is practical for you, but that's about a 12-month school. An 18-month school is about 13 sessions per month, which leads to 3 to 4 sessions a week. Now, if I have 4 sessions a week, I will gather my students twice a week with 2 sessions at an evening or a day. Now, these sessions doesn't have to be in the evening. If I gather on a Wednesday night, do my 2 sessions, and Sunday afternoon and do another 2 sessions, that is up to you. Whatever works for you. Maybe it's a Monday night and a Saturday morning, or whatever the case may be. All right, you must feel free to develop this thing according to your need, according to the availability and the ability of your local church. Now, what is important when you start a part-time school in your church? The venue is important. Now, this is the beauty of a part-time school venue, is that you can do it anywhere. You can literally do it at one of the members' homes, in their lounge. Make sure it's quiet again. Make sure it's private. Make sure that the people will feel safe there, safe to share whatever needs to be shared, safe to cry if they want to cry, safe to worship, whatever the case. Now, I know in certain parts of the world where we start schools in the underground church, obviously the dynamics are totally different. And you need to respect, but whatever you can do, whatever is available for you to do, just make sure that venue you use is suitable for that. All right, whatever your goals are. Secondly, a dedicated group of students. Now, this is a different dedication than in a full-time school. In a full-time school, the guys come and they stay there for 8 months or 12 months or whatever the case may be. These guys are working. These guys are serving, or whatever. So this dedication must be one of, listen, I will be here every week. Whenever we need to gather at a Wednesday night or whenever we're gathering on a Sunday afternoon, I will be here. For the next 18 months or the next 24 months, we will be here, all right? So you need some kind of a dedication. You need a local church. I mean, now more than ever before, I would need my pastor to encourage me to go on. I will need my pastor to help me to just encourage this whole process. It becomes a process. 12 months, 18 months, it's a process of equipping. Why? Because we want to reach the unreached. That's why. And the students must hear it every single time they gather together. You need a significant involvement in the local community. All right. So if my church is situated in a small village in Nigeria, I need to find out what's happening around me. Okay. If I'm going to gather on Wednesday nights, I'm going to gather on Saturday mornings, I need to find out how can I influence, how can I establish something around me that will already influence the community. Be significant where you are. It will keep your people encouraged. Okay, now what I want to do for the next few minutes is I want to share some of the stuff I've learned throughout the past few years that really keep your school dynamic, all right? One of the things is use public holidays. Gather together as a group of students, especially when you are in a part-time school. Gather them in a group. Go for a picnic or go for a hike or whatever you can do in your world. Come together as a group, spend the day together, get to know each other. You know, when a group like that are together, they iron sharpen iron. You know that slogan, you know. So let them struggle a bit. Let them do stuff together. Let them cook together. Do stuff together so that they can find each other in that way. The second thing is, I always encourage my students, you know, like, take a weekend or 2 or 3 or 4. Take these 4 weekends and go away somewhere. From Friday to Sunday, go away somewhere where it's quiet and watch a whole series of sessions. Watch 8 sessions, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, pray together, worship together, see God's face together, and go through maybe 8 sessions. Especially when you are in a part-time school, you will need this acceleration just to make that school a little bit faster and a little bit more dynamic, okay? Use opportunities like that. Seek opportunities like that. Thirdly, invite guest speakers you trust. Okay, invite somebody that has the knowledge of maybe Islam, or have the knowledge of cross-cultural communication, or somebody that could really build into the students' lives with his experience or her experience. Use trusted. Make sure you trust them. Make sure you know where they come from. Fourthly, adopt a project. I cannot tell you and stress too much how this thing will enhance the dynamics of the school. All right, find something in your community, easy, accessible for the students to go in there. Maybe it's a soup kitchen. Every Friday evening, you're going to go out to the streets and you're going to give soup to the people who is in need of food, okay? Find something like that, guys. It is extremely important for you guys to find something and hold on to that thing and make an impact in your community. The vision of the local church in front of the school body. I shared it earlier. Put the map of Madagascar in front of them. Let them see it. Let them smell it. Let them taste it in whatever way. Make it real for them. Show them videos, whatever the case may be. Let Madagascar be part of them if that's going to be their goal. All right, keep it in front of them. I cannot stress the value of this too much. It is absolutely amazing. Communicate with your local church. Sunday, maybe once a month, or whatever the case may be. Listen, Pastor, can we just share our testimonies in church? Share the testimony. I've been in places where the older ladies that cannot now maybe be that active in the mission field, they will come and they will start giving food to the students. They will start saying, listen, what can I pray for you? And slowly but surely, the church is getting mobilized. And that is the beauty of a thing like this in a local church, provided there's good communication and a good relationship with the church leadership. Organize visits to other institutions, organizations. Maybe I can give you this example. When we were in school in 2000, when we received the teaching on Islam, they took us actually to a mosque. And we sat in the mosque and we just watched. We didn't do anything else. We didn't go there to minister. We didn't go there to preach. What we did was we sat in the back and we watched. And you need that in the school. You need that. Remember, you are getting equipped for service, okay? So you need to do everything you can to make sure you and your student body get as much as they possibly can in a very short time of period. Search for opportunities to go cross-cultural. Oh, I love this thing. So many times I told my students, listen guys, next weekend we're going to go to a different village where there's a different culture and we're going to just be there. We're going to live there. We're going to talk to this different culture. We're going to listen to their language. We're going to eat their food. Now, obviously in some countries it's easier than in other countries. Yeah, in South Africa, we could just go 20 kilometers from the capital and we'll be in a different culture. All right, in Ukraine, you'll have to look a little bit harder, but you will find a gypsy village somewhere where you can just go and stay for the weekend. In Russia, in Central Asia, North Africa, wherever you are. Europe, it's easy. Even in America, certain parts, I'm sure that you will find places where there's different groups, where different groups are gathering together. Now, if you can trust God for an open door into that place, just go and be. Just go and be. Listen, eat, smell, experience that different culture. When it comes to cross-cultural communication, you will begin to understand the principles. When it comes to anthropology, you will begin to understand the principles of a different culture. Then you can go back to those cultures and you can just listen a little bit more, listen a little bit more strategic. And in this way, keep the school very interesting and very dynamic. Okay guys, so this is the full-time school, this is the part-time school, and a few things that could help you to keep your school dynamic. Now it's your job to go back and sit and just think about this on which one of these options will work in your world. You might find yourself in a world where a full-time school option is just not going to work well. If it's a part-time school, how will it affect your community and how will the community affect you? Okay, so sit down, think about this, think about what option will be the better option for your school, and then after this we're going to go into another session in how we're actually going to develop a schedule suitable for my community. Thank you.